I'm from Tucson, Arizona.
I think it's
and I'm wondering,
quite interesting.
I know you've met with dozens of lobbyists. I did not touch you. I'm meeting with dozens. I know you're meeting with dozens of lobbyists.
The world doesn't really
and
work
talking
anymore.
with corporate donors about the package. How many times will you meet with constituents?
Well,
how many times have you met with constituents in negotiating Build Back Better?
I think it's part of the course, right? Part of the course.
I want you to meet with my family, my constituents. I can have them meet you next week.
Well,
every single year in Arizona, it's getting hotter and hotter. We're breaking records.
Integrity.
There's either no monsoon or it's the longest season. People are suffering. Your constituents are suffering. What are you going to do about climate change? Next week in Glasgow could be the last chance. Please answer me, Senator. My family, my house, we're from Tucson. We're constituents.
thanks for your work, sir. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Don't touch me. I love it. Do you know who that is? That's Democratic Senator Kirsten Sinema walking alongside Republican Senator Tim Scott. And the rumors are beginning to swirl. Is Sinema about to jump ship and lead the Democrats? It certainly looks like something is up. In this video, we're going to take a look at what's going on, not just with Sinema, but with Senator Joe Manchin as well. We're going to see how leftists are utterly freaking out over these two senators refusing to comply with their Marxist schemes. And stick with me to the very end of this video when I'll reveal why at least one of these senators will almost certainly leave the Democrats very, very soon. You're not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Stevie with you. Wonderful to be with you. As always, before we begin, we've got some amazing news for you, for those of you who are on the West Coast, particularly for those of you in the Southwest, but you got to wait till tomorrow before the big reveal, but you're going to absolutely love it. So stay tuned. I can't wait. And finally, as you know, I did recently retire from academia to go full-time here at Turley Talks, fighting for freedom and bring the good news of patriotic conservatism to people all over the world. But I need your support to help keep me going in the midst of constant threats of cancel culture. So my team and I have created an amazing merch store with the best designs in the world, like our latest Let's Go Brandon shirts or Audit 50. And we're going to have some of the best Patriot gear there for you, that you can pick out something that spreads hope and supports my channel here at the same time. So make sure to click on that link below and get your Patriot merch today. These designs are punchy and fun, but they're not going to stick around for long. So click on the link in the description below to both support me and spread patriotic hope. And I cannot thank you enough for it. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. We've got some amazing developments going on with Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema and the prospects of them leaving the Democratic Party. So as I'm sure you all know by now, last week, Joe Manchin did indeed confirm that he was openly discussing leaving the Democratic Party and becoming an independent. Now, when the reports originally came out about that, he said this.
I can't control rumors, and it's bullshit. Bullshit spelled with a B-U-L-L capital B.
I asked you, but...
So he originally dismissed the reports as BS with a capital B, but alas, it turns out that that denial was BS. He later admitted that he did in fact tell Democratic leadership that he would go independent if it helped them, if he was a problem for the Democrats, given his moderate political stances in the midst of a party that's going full-blown Marxist. Well, since those revelations were made public, more and more Republicans have been coming out and inviting Manchin to make the switch and come on over to the GOP. It makes absolutely no sense for him to be a Democrat. Every single county in West Virginia, every single county voted for Trump twice. There's absolutely no point in Manchin being a Democrat. And so Senator Mike Lee of Utah is but the latest to give him the invite.
I mean, Joe Manchin wouldn't be the center of the political universe had we not just won a single Georgia Senate race, right?
That's right. He wouldn't. And look, there's still plenty of time. He can still switch parties if he wants to. I encourage him to do so. There's no reason why he belongs with the party of inflation, why he belongs with the party of lawlessness, why he ought to remain with the party that's harassing, intimidating, and belittling him at every turn, just so they can fundamentally remake the American economy and American society. No, look, Joe Manchin absolutely should leave the Democratic Party, and I look forward to embracing him when he joins our caucus.
Well, you know, what I keep getting hung up on is he represents West Virginia. I mean, that's a state where Joe Biden literally did not win a single county. So what are the realistic expectations of the squad for a guy from West Virginia?
Yeah, well, look, what they see here is a chance to make America a little more socialist, or a lot more socialist. What they see here is that if they belittle him and intimidate him enough that somehow he'll relent. That's, of course, not going to happen. Joe Manchin's got a backbone, and he's got principles, and he's also got constituents. You know, he represents the good people of West Virginia, including a whole lot of poor and middle-class Americans who are finding that everything they buy, from gas to groceries, from housing to health care, is getting more expensive, unaffordably so. And they're understanding increasingly that this is happening as a result of a federal government that's just printing money to the tune of trillions of dollars it doesn't have. That hurts America's poor and middle class.
Well said. Well said. And I think it echoes the sentiments of the Wall Street Journal. In one of their latest articles, they're calling on the GOP to woo Manchin like never before, because if he does make the switch, the Democrats are done. The Biden era is officially over. Everything from the $3.5 trillion spending debacle to Biden's Green New Deal drive to his push to shove CRT down the throats of school children to more COVID shutdowns and vax mandate, all of that would basically be squashed in the blink of an eye with a Manchin switch. And when all is said and done, this is precisely what has made Manchin the most powerful senator in Washington, D.C. right now. Manchin is infinitely more powerful than Chuck Schumer. He's more powerful than Mitch McConnell. And as long as he refuses to buckle under the pressure of the Democrats, he will remain the most powerful senator in D.C. That's why I think if he does switch parties, it's going to be as an independent, because then he has the leverage of caucusing to use to his advantage. But frankly, it may not be Manchin that will decide to control the Senate after all. It may indeed be the junior senator from Arizona, and that's, of course, the one and only Kirsten Sinema. The rumors surrounding Sinema are beginning to fly big time. Now, I showed you earlier the latest video of Sinema getting harassed at an airport when she looked at that far-left activist and warned her, "Don't you touch me." That was so cool. But again, you'll note who she was with. She was with one of the rising stars of the Republican Party, Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina. Now, this is just par for the course for Sinema. After the recent debt limit vote, reports were that Sinema was hanging out in the Republican cloakroom. Now, cloakrooms are areas where senators interact outside of the Senate chambers. Sinema was reportedly seen hanging out with the Republicans. And of course, in the meantime, she's being utterly harassed by these nutty left-wing activists, the most ridiculous being when these activists who were utterly livid over Sinema's refusal to support the $3.5 trillion spending debacle that the Democrats are trying to impose upon our nation. These actors actually followed her in the women's room and filmed her while she was in the stalls. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was insane. And then to add insult to injury, when bumbling Biden was confronted over what he thought about that incident, he actually had the gall to say that her harassment by a bunch of these far left, they turned out to be illegal immigrant activists in the women's bathroom, right? It was all, quote, part of the process, and that Kirsten Sinema needed to toughen up. Well, that's not how you win friends and influence people, to say the least. And so now pundits are openly questioning whether Sinema is ready to make the switch herself. Now, before we get into that very, very quickly, make sure to click on that link below right now and register for our Patriot Live virtual event November 12th and 13th, where I and several guests will show you how to lead your family to freedom without sacrificing your beliefs, values, and God-given rights. If you click on that link below right now, you're going to get 50% off your tickets, but that offer expires midnight Wednesday, so don't wait. Click on that link below, find out more, and get 50% off your tickets, and I'll see you for a virtual weekend that you'll never forget. All right, so one of the things that is absolutely driving Democrats and their pathetic mouthpieces in the media crazy is that Sinema refuses to give a price tag for her demands. So Manchin is willing to say something like this: look, you lower the $3.5 trillion to $2 trillion, and I'll support it. But Sinema won't give him a number. She actually appears to be completely and totally opposed to the whole of Biden's Build Back Better absurdity in its entirety. She doesn't want it. And she won't specify, what's going to get her on board. This is what's driving the left crazy. And this is why exasperated Marxists at the New York Times are basically asking, is it time for Sinema to leave the Democrats? Is it time? Or she's just become an obstructionist to our Marxist agenda. So we need to get rid of her. I mean, seriously, this is the press that she's reading. And they wonder why there's so much speculation that she's ready to jump ship. Our good friend over at Red Eagles Politics has been analyzing the data and thinks that it's very, very likely that Sinema is going to become a Republican after the midterms. At this point right now, she couldn't win the Democratic primary, right, in Arizona. A number of far leftists would beat her. But, she's growing in popularity among Republicans. And so given that she's up for re-election in 2024, it would make sense for her to jump ship and become the GOP nominee after the 2022 bloodbath that the Democrats are almost assuredly going to get. So we'll keep an eye on how things develop here, but it seems little question the Democrats are stuck between a rock and a hard place with these two senators, and it doesn't look like they're going to get unstuck anytime soon. Now, before you go, you will definitely want to check out a video I did on how woke colleges are closing down permanently throughout the nation. It is absolutely stunning and unprecedented how many of these woke colleges are now officially defunct. It's going to make your day. So make sure to click on the link and I'll see you over there. God bless. Don't you touch me.